this kind of leads me into the conversation about what they did talk about on the teardown, and that was the that we're all whiny NASCAR fans, which is true. I'm definitely in that category of people that want the old days back, and they're saying that well, you have to go to these markets like Mexico City and Chicago and San Diego because that's how you grow your sport, and that's where people are. The average age of the NASCAR fan just it's so old. It's like, yeah, because these guys are still hanging on from when we were kids and watched good racing. And the reason that you're not seeing new people interested because the product isn't good. That's the problem. It's not that we're not in Chicago. It's not that we're not in Mexico City. It's not that we're not on the streets of San Diego. It's the racing product isn't good. That's the problem. And I don't understand why we can't fix the racing product. Oh, what do you want us to go back to Rockingham and race at places like that? Yes, I do. Give me a good race at Rockingham. That's what I want to see. I don't care if you're on the streets of Chicago. I don't care if you build Rockingham in the middle of Chicago. Just give me good racing. I don't care where it's at. Just put a good product on the racetrack. That's what you're missing. That's why your fans are getting older, is because you used to have it and you went away from it. And that's the whole problem here. It has nothing to do with the location and you're targeting the wrong demographics. We need to have concerts at these races. Just put good racing out there. That's the answer. That's it.
Following is a production of the Garage Area.
All right, welcome into the Garage Area. This is where were we just at? Chicago Street Race recap show, where we saw, as you might guess, as Ryan did guess, as I would have guessed, Shane Van Gisbergen ends up getting the win, not only in the Cup race, but in the Xfinity Series race too. Yeah, thanks for typing that in after we've already started. Yeah, so Shane gets the win in both the Xfinity and the Cup Series races, as anybody with a brain would have guessed. And that's if people are gambling people, you should have had Shane the whole way. If you bet on anybody else, you're an idiot. Like Shane Van Gisbergen to win was the play for sure. He's now got 2 wins on the season. Man, I was gonna look this up beforehand to see. He's got more wins than Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain, his teammate. And then Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, and Bubba Wallace are all in the playoff picture and haven't won a race yet this year. Shane gets 2 wins. I don't know where he's at in the regular points. It's got to be in the 30s still.
No, he's 27th.
27th.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty close to that. He's not had a great year from a big picture standpoint, but he's got 2 race wins. So I don't know, like how can you be up or down on the guy? Like he's not running well at every single racetrack, but at the ones that count, the ones that he's in the car to win, he's winning.
Yeah.
And we're going to Sonoma this week, and I think that he's got to be in your top 3 of guys that you think is going to be fast. We'll get to some of these other questions that I have later, but yeah, obviously he was your pick. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident were you that Shane was going to win that race?
It was about an 8.5, maybe. There was a time I thought the strategy wasn't going to play out for him.
No. But I don't mean during the race.
Oh.
I mean going into the race.
Well, like I like the strategy playing out correctly. I was like, he's winning this no matter what, like a 10. I mean, I think he just plays with them guys. I don't think he's ever run full out and he's still beating them. So,
trying to think what would be a good example of it. Okay, back in the day, going to Martinsville, how confident would you have been that either Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson would win there?
That was like a 9.5, 10. You know,
are you more or less confident that Shane's going to win when you go to Chicago?
I'm probably more confident.
More confident than that. So that's insane. For as good as those two used to be at Martinsville, as good as Shane is at road courses, it's not surprising. It kind of irritates me a little bit when you hear these drivers. Even Jamie McMurray said on the post-race broadcast that, well, they go to Watkins Glen and they go to Sonoma. Shane's not going to have the advantage that he had. Shane is going to have the advantage because he's the best road course racer in the field. That's his advantage. He's the best one to do the job.
Yeah.
I understand he might be like head and shoulders above the rest of them at Chicago, at Mexico City, at some of these other racetracks, but I don't know. He's the best. He's not in the top three. He's not in the mix. He's clearly the best road course racer in the field. It's not even close. Um, and we did end up doing for this week's show a top five ranking of who we think are the best five road course racers in the field. You did understand it was in the field, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
not of all time or
yeah.
anything
I was
like
like,
that.
I had to recheck. I'm like, uh, whew.
Do you want to do it now?
Sure.
Let's do it now. All right, who do you got at your number five?
I put Larson.
Larson at five.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, now I'm really curious to see who else you got on this list.
Yeah.
Um, okay, at five, I had Chris Buescher. I think that he consistently runs good. I think that he's got a win last year at Watkins Glen on a road course. He was my pick this week, and from what I understand, from what people said, the teardown said about the things that the garage was saying prior to the race, they thought that Chris Buescher was one of the three cars that could compete for a win yesterday. Obviously, had engine trouble and finished 18th or something. I'd have to look and see. Um, but yeah, Buescher is my number five driver on that list. Who you got for, at number four?
Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick at number four. Why at four?
Um, 'Cause I think there's three better three
It's
better
fair.
ones.
Tell me
Um,
why he's in the top five in the first place.
well, that's he's got more wins at road courses, I think, than any other place that he runs. I mean, he's good everywhere, but he's always up front at the road courses as far as I can see. It's just someone you got to watch out for. I don't really have much more to say than that, but
Okay. My number four, I've got Christopher Bell. He's just one of those guys that always seems to be in the mix. Uh, he won at Coda earlier this year. It- he's up front. Um, and again, I'm curious to see where your list rounds out because there's guys that are still racing in the Cup Series that have won at road courses in the past. But if you were going to a road course tomorrow, or in our case, when you go Sunday, do I think that they have an opportunity to win? I think that Buescher has an opportunity to win, but I think he's the fifth out of five guys. I think that Bell has an opportunity to win, but I think he's the fourth out of five guys. Who you got at number three?
Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott's not even in my top five. And I know that he's got a lot of road course wins in the past. He just hasn't shown a lot of strength for the win on road courses recently. I think the last two, maybe three times we've gone to a road course, he's run better than he has in the past. Well, since we switched to the Gen 7 car.
Yeah. I mean, I could see your argument for that, but as somebody who actually follows him closely, I've seen a lot of things that have gone wrong at road courses that taken him out of those chances. Like when you say Chicago first, he started in the back and he got up to the top 15 when he got involved. I don't know if you saw the damage on the front of his car here at Chicago.
I didn't.
Yeah, but he had like a parachute on the front of his car.
Mm,
The front nose is off the splitter and letting air through where it shouldn't have and stuff like that. They taped it up and he nearly got back to the top 15. Um, you know, he had nearly had a win, I think 2013 at Watkins Glen when Kyle Larson shoved him out from the win.
that was
Sonoma
2013?
2023.
2023.
I may have said 13, but I meant
Okay. It's
2023.
like, man, I knew that was a little bit ago, but I didn't think it was that long ago.
No, but Sonoma, I remember it was last year or 2 years ago. He had he would have come out the leader of pit road on a strategy and stuff, and but his crew dropped the lug nut and he had to back up and put the tire back on and stuff. He almost lost a wheel. And I took him out of that win. He finished like seventh or something because of that.
Mm.
I remember Roval, he was leading and the caution came out before they were going to flip the stage. So then he had to pit at the stage break and that put him back in traffic. And he got back to the top 10 in that race, but I think he won that race had his strategy played out. So I see a lot of the things that go wrong for him more than what uh, he's shown, I guess you would say.
I think it's interesting that Chase Elliott was your longest explanation as to why you think got him third on the list.
He's the one I follow the most, you know. So
My number three on the list is Tyler Reddick, and it's just because he even at RCR he was fast on road courses there. He's fast on road courses in the 2311 equipment, and even Sunday he was going to get there to Shane if things played out all the way. They just ran out of laps to get there. And he had the freshest tires. He was running great lap times. I think he had a great opportunity to run him down and pass him, just didn't have the time. Um, who you got at number two?
Christopher Bell,
Yeah, Chris Bell at number two.
yeah,
Why?
Um, I feel like he's been the most recent consistent driver on road courses. I mean, he won at Coda. He finished second at Mexico. I don't remember particularly the year before, but I believe he has a couple wins at road courses too. So that was just, to me, he's been kind of overseeded Chase Elliott as far as like the normal road ringers, I guess you would, or the normal cup guys at road courses.
Okay. Um, hmm. All right. I mean, it's your list.
Yeah.
Uh, at number two, I got Kyle Larson, and it's not necessarily because I think that he is, and I probably should have graded him this way. It's not necessarily because I think he's the second best road course racer of the field, but for whatever reason, he's just in a position to win a lot. And they capitalize on strategy or whatever the case is, and he gets the opportunity to get the deal closed out, including last year at Sonoma. That's why I got him number two on the list, just because I think that if you asked me who's going to win at Sonoma right now, it would be SVG at the top of the list, and then I would have like a close debate between Reddick, Bell, and Larson. And I think that it's probably Reddick the most talented, and Bell the next talented, but Larson's at number two on my list because just think that he would find the way. And there, I think that oh, what's his crew chief's name? Cliff Daniels.
Oh, Larson. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that he's good at setting up the strategy for those races and puts Larson in a good opportunity to win. And while I don't think that Larson's necessarily the number two most talented driver on the list, it's just an opportunity to win. I think is closest to him. Let's just say our number one together. Three, two, one. SVG.
SVG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and definitely the most talented guy in the Cup Series field. And I mean, if you're a car owner, he'd be your one pick to get in your equipment at a road course and try to get you a win. So that was fun. Glad that we
Yeah.
could go through that list.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd probably go back and maybe flip Larson and Reddick around. I just, when I got to those two spots and I had a whole list of drivers, I was just kind of like, yeah, I got to put him here and there. That was just kind of how I had it wrote out. But
yeah, that's
yeah, I mean, Larson,
you can
yeah,
understand that they're close.
yeah,
Surprisingly, I think William Byron's got three road
yeah.
course wins.
He was like right there wanting to put him in there
So you'd
too.
put him in an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Who else would you put on that list?
I think I had Chris Busher, uh, McDowell.
Yeah, that's what I was
I
just.
was trying to like, can I put him in here or should I? And
McDowell has a road course win at the Indy Road Course. It just seems like always something bad happens to him, whether it's by his own doing or not. And this week was not his own doing, but something always happens where he's not going to close the deal out. And that's the biggest problem for him. That's why I didn't put him on the list. Ross Chastain also a near miss of that list for me.
and of course AJ Allmendinger. He was some of these guys you got to notice that they run better at road courses than they do ovals, but they still may not be the best road course
Right.
racer. But
That's what's just tough. Like I want to put AJ on the list, but I
yeah,
don't think he's going to win.
yeah.
And that's I don't know. Cindric is somebody else that's supposed to be good on road courses and is never up there.
I only remember him being good once at like the first year at Coda when they had to rain and I feel like he was smoking the field, and that's the only time I remember seeing him up
And he
front.
wasn't even full time at that
Yeah,
time.
he was running a 33 car.
Yeah. Yeah, that I don't know. But like coming in to his rookie season in Cup, that was supposed to be the hype with him. Oh, he's really good on road courses. He's a good
Yeah,
road course guy. And it just has not translated once he got in the actual two car. I don't know. I don't get it. Um let's see, what else do we got to talk about here? I think that pretty much I think that we've spent an adequate amount of time both um how do I say this nicely? Drooling over SVG and Chase Elliott and their abilities here
yeah.
so far in this episode. So we're gonna move on from them. SVG is the greatest. Uh, Chase is Ryan's greatest, whatever the case is. Uh, moving on to the actual race itself, Carson Hocevar causes a big pileup. I guess he kind of shot into the inside tire barriers, the apex of the corner, and then to the outside and collected a bunch of cars. Um,
It was a concrete wall the first corner, not tires.
oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Uh,
but still.
yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Um,
Hocevar doing Hocevar things or what?
yeah, probably being more aggressive earlier than he should have been.
See, his
Um,
explanation though said that he was trying to not be so aggressive, and that he just wasn't paying enough attention.
I could see that too. Like,
It's hard to tell.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I think some of these drivers they get into a rhythm and their rhythm's aggressive, and if you deter from that, you lose focus of what you're really doing. I can see that. But also, you saw her Ricky's radio saying that he was all over the place and this and that, and he's an idiot. So,
Yeah. Did
that's
you see the GIF that Ricky posted?
I don't think so.
There was a guy smashing a watermelon with a hammer that he posted on Twitter,
Oh, I didn't see it.
which is hilarious. I love Stenhouse, especially this year. I hope he and Hocevar get into it at some point physically. It just would be. I mean, Ricky better bring a stool with him if he's going to punch him in the face, but it's going to be an interesting scene. Uh, Michael McDowell, fast car, had an opportunity to run up front and did run up front, led at least 31 laps.
He
So,
led the whole first stage, I believe, won the stage.
yeah, he did. He won stage one. SVG led 26 laps. I'm looking at the list here. Where is McDowell?
It's down at the bottom.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see him. 31 laps. Um, Chase Briscoe led 13, had a flat tire. He wasn't really in a position to win at that point, but he was going to get a decent finish when he had the flat tire, and that didn't end up working out for him. AJ led a couple. Uh, Blaney led 3, won a stage. But yeah, McDowell actually led the most with 31, and then SVG the second most with 26. And McDowell, like I just said, same deal. He's fast at these road courses. He just can't end up closing it out. And I understand that this is a mechanical issue. It's not his fault. I feel like we were somewhere else not that long ago. It was still when he was in the 34 car, to where he had a really fast car. I think he might even sat on the pole for that race. And then they had like engine trouble or something. And maybe that was Watkins Glen. I can't remember for sure.
I think it was a transmission issue.
Transmission.
Now that you said, as soon as you said Watkins Glen, it popped back in my head, but I think it was a transmission issue.
Yeah, that's it. Just seems like nothing to Michael's fault. It just isn't. It's just not closing for him,
Yeah.
and it's just unfortunate that that's how that ends up happening. Yeah, I would still expect him to be fast at Sonoma, but I don't know if he's gonna be in contention for the win. But it is just another thing. It's kind of like, I hate to make this comparison, but it's kind of like the Earnhardt at the Daytona 500 deal. Like, you can be up front and leading, and then you hit a seagull. Or,
Yeah.
anything bad can happen to you, to where you end up not being in contention for the win, and that's what happened to McDowell here with the throttle cable. I don't know if it was a hung throttle or if it was just what the deal
The,
was.
the cable got frayed and it hung the throttle,
Hmm.
whatever, something to that effect. It's something that wore on something and it frayed the cable inside. And
Hmm. Seems like that shouldn't happen.
no, and it seems like wouldn't be such a hard fix that he'd get back out, but I don't think he ever got back out. So maybe there's more to the story that we're not being told, or
That could be. Let me see where he ended up finishing 32nd. Um, Says he only completed 53 laps. So yeah. Well, it does say he was running though.
maybe he did.
Maybe they did get it fixed, but that, I don't know, man. That yeah,
Maybe it just took longer to fix than I thought it should have. 'Cause,
it could be. I mean, Stenhouse was in a crash and he still finished ahead of him.
yeah,
Cody Ware, well, we know what crash he was in. We'll talk about that in a minute. Um, so I honestly didn't get a chance to look at it that close. It surprised me. I saw that Joey got spun around, but I didn't like. Everybody was getting spun around in those couple laps there, and I just assumed it was aggressive racing. And I told you before we started recording that um, it was I was a single parent yesterday, and so I was trying to keep track of the kid and watch the race at the same time, so I wasn't able to be as fully engaged as I normally would be. And I heard, "Oh, the 22 is around," as Dale Jr. called it, but that was that was really the extent of it, and I almost expected it because Kyle Busch had just gotten turned around at that point, and somebody else I don't remember. They were all kind of spun out around the same few laps there.
I
And
don't think that was the Kyle one, was it? I think that was I believe that was. I remember Chastain tailspinned into the tire barrier and won, kept going. And then it must be right after that's when he took the 22 out.
yeah,
And the two of Cindric was I think broke a toe link or something because he hit the inside
Mm.
corner or something. He was dragging himself around, but I don't quite remember anybody else around at that point.
Huh. I feel like there was a rash there in like the 5 or 6 laps right around then where there was guys
Yeah,
getting
that could be.
turned without the yellow coming out, which it took a long time for the yellow to come out yesterday
Yeah,
on incidents. Um, so I guess I wasn't fully prepared for Joey and Ross to be in a altercation, but look, there's been times where Joey's been upset after races, and I've had to just sit there and be like, dude, you need to chill out. Seemed like he was fully justified in this one to me.
yeah.
What are your thoughts as a Joey
Well,
hater?
well, like I didn't initially see the Joey Logano spun around. I completely missed it. I didn't realize he had been spun around until after the race. And hey, I saw Bob Pocker's interview on Twitter or something. I saw clips later of the in-car camera, and yeah, it was just Ross just lost his mind and took out the next guy that was in front of him. That was what it was, and like there's more to it than that.
Yeah, that's just Ross doing Ross things.
Yeah,
Uh, but I'm glad that he had that talk with Hocevar earlier in the year. Get him back settled down a little bit. I mean, Ross is the guy to get your head on straight. Just seems like he would be the guy to really direct you the right way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah. Um, Brian's so used to my sarcasm, he doesn't even care anymore. Uh, the other two that really tangled pretty hard, and I'm curious to know what you think of this, was Bowman and Bubba Wallace. Now, let me start off by saying Alex Bowman's a hack.
I knew that was coming.
Uh, can't stand Alex Bowman. I think that he doesn't deserve his ride. I've said this multiple times. Not a good race car driver, at least not good enough to be in Hendrick equipment. And um, that's pretty much the end of the story. Bubba Wallace, I think, is probably also somebody that probably isn't a good enough race car driver to be in the 2311 equipment. However, in a general everyday setting, I like Bubba Wallace more than I like Alex Bowman. After seeing the incident, I don't know what Bubba Wallace is doing. Like it's like dude, I don't
Yeah,
know what you're doing. It's I got no defense for Bubba on this one. It just looked like he shipped Bowman in 12 and then just kept beating on him. And finally, it didn't even initially it looked like the 48 could have just been done with a 23 and right
yeah.
hooked him. And I would have never fined Bowman for that if that's what happened. But after I saw the onboard, I don't think he right hooked him at all. I think he
No,
just bounced off the fence and then that it was kind of the ping pong ball effect. And when they came back together, the 23 was going around. So as much as I would love to hate on Alex Bowman for doing something wrong, I don't think he did. And I think that even if he had shipped the 23 on purpose, it was well deserved.
yeah. I think TV tried to make it seem like something happened earlier in this race that caused it, but I don't think it
Well, they were
was.
head to head in the bracket challenge.
Well,
Don't you
that's
understand how
yeah,
big a deal that is?
yeah. That was yeah. After turn 12, when it
Yeah.
was like the initial initiation of it, I was like, what happened? And then doored him off of 12 into the wall, and then I think Bowman in then one was like, I'm not getting shoved into this corner either, and then same going into turn two, Bowman stayed outside or whatever, and of course Wallace doored him and then tried clearing himself, and I think Bowman just stayed on the throttle, just gave him no room, and Bubba cleared himself out that way. That was what I saw of it. I don't know if it was just him trying to keep that position because he thought he was going to lose it a lot more, or if he was really worried about that bracket spot.
Bubba Wallace is plus 2 points to the cut line after this race.
So I'm still above
Yeah,
it.
by 2 points. Bubba can't afford to be racing like a moron. Like, what's he doing? I don't get it at all. I can't understand the way why he raced like that. I wonder where he finished. Let me see if we can find it here.
I heard he lost like 20 positions or something like that.
He finished 28th,
Yeah,
and
that's where Bowman was at. So
Bowman,
it was eighth. I mean,
yeah, and Bowman finished 8th. So I don't know if that's exactly where they were running at the time of that,
yeah, I think that because it held them back up so much, Bowman couldn't make any more progress forward, I believe. So
but yeah, that's just as like, dude, what are you doing? You had a top 10 going, and you end up finishing 28th after all that. It's just
yeah,
ridiculous. I didn't even realize Joey came back to finish 11th right behind Ross. After
well, that's why I was surprised him being spun out because I saw he finished in the like 11th, 12th area or something like that, and I'm like, I don't, I was like, you got spun out.
We need to look at these results because
There are some oddball guys.
first of all, let's give a shout out to Ty Gibbs. He's somebody else that should have been an honorable mention on that road course racer list because I actually think that Ty Gibbs could win one of these road course races. Like SVG, top of the list again. Stop drooling all over him. Ty Gibbs, he's right there with my number 2 or number 3 pick. Tyler Reddick, right there. Denny Hamlin, what is he doing in 4th at a road course? I have no idea.
Strategy.
Kyle Busch got spun out, ended up finishing 5th. Great recovery for him. Good top 5 for that team. AJ Allmendinger ends up finishing 6th. No surprise there. Ryan Preece in 7th. Not surprised by that. Bowman in 8th. He's a hack. I am surprised by that. Austin Hill finished 9th.
Yeah.
That one really surprised me. I didn't even know Austin Hill was in the race.
Yeah.
And he ends up coming back to finish 9th. Not coming back. He started 30th, but he ended up finishing 9th is incredible. Chastain 11th, Logano 12th, Chastain 10th, Logano 11th, Blaney 12th. Kyle Larson, what happened to him? He got a spawn at one point.
Did he get spun?
Yeah, I think so.
I know he started in the back, but
I think he got.
I know him and Bubba got together in 12.
He started.
Bubba got spun, but
He started 14th.
he had to go to the back. He
Oh, okay.
qualified 14th, but he had to go to the start of the back due to adjustments.
Unapproved adjustments. Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott is really good. Finished 16th. Riley Herbst, Chris Buescher, unfortunately, even with an engine issue, still ended up with an 18th place finish. Catherine Legg, really surprised by that because she's not any good. Ty Dillon finished 20th. That's right where you expect him to be. But none of these other guys are. Bell must have been in an accident, was he?
Was he involved in that?
I mean,
first lap.
he finished 24th. There's no way that he wasn't involved in an accident, right?
Something.
I mean, Bell's one of the top 5 road course racers according to us.
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I didn't pay enough attention to see Bell to know why he ended up back there. All right, let's get back on track here.
Cody Ware, even under the wall, finished 26.
Yeah, let's talk about that, I guess, next. I'll just touch on 2 things before we get to Cody Ware. Denny Hamlin, he blew up in practice. That's got to be scary for him with the whole Toyota motor deal because he's, battling for regular season championship as well as, an
If he was worried about the regular season championship, he'd have raced in Mexico.
He had a kid, dude.
So,
how many kids you got?
None.
Yeah, that we know of. And there's
okay.
He's got 2 girls. He had his first boy. I would miss that race too if I was him. Yeah,
He's not dedicated to NASCAR.
You're right. I'm not that. Especially go to Mexico City. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's not like he was going to Pocono.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Denny.
I'm just joking.
I know you are. Denny ends. I don't even know why I'm upset that you're insulting Denny Hamlin, but again for the 3rd time, blows a motor. Something that should be concerning if you're in Toyota right now is how much engine trouble that they've had. He ends up coming back on the weekend to finish 4th. That's a good result for him. Surprising result that he, even if he had the original motor, would have ended up finishing there. Chase Briscoe, I think we talked about it for a second. He ended up leading for a few laps, and while not in a position to win, he ended up blowing a tire and finished it toward the back. You're right, Cody Ware under the tires. That's really what. Let's kind of talk about this for a second. Cody ends up blowing a brake rotor, I think was the story, and could not get stopped. Did you see the fan video?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was intense. Like, I'm watching these guys come around this corner, and I'm thinking that one of them's just going to kind of sail off into the tires. Is what I'm expecting to watch. Then you just see that was he the 51 go just zipping by there and boom into the tires and stop instantly, and it's like, whoa, that looks like that probably hurt. And I heard that he said he needed help, and guess I just assumed that meant he just needed towed out, not like physical help.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Parker Clearman. Like somebody I saw posted today that they had talked to Cody and he was shaken up pretty good, but was overall okay, which is good. I'm not a Cody Ware fan. He doesn't belong in the Cup Series, but you don't want to see anybody get hurt. So that was it was a big hit. That was a big deal. The controversy is how long it took NASCAR to throw the caution. man, they were long on cautions anyway today. Like guys that have issues, they'd give them plenty of time to get the issue solved before they ended up throwing the yellow. You have rain in the area. You don't want this thing to turn into just an absolute disaster of guys dive bombing each other on a restart. I get all that, and I think that's probably what we would have been headed for. You don't want a lightning strike to hold up the final lap of the race because this would have been coming to the white, and they don't throw the yellow flag. I say all that to set up the scenario. You have to throw the caution, and I know that they said they didn't see the impact, but I saw the video of the room that they're using to officiate the race in to call cautions or whatever. There's 16 TVs in there. Like, how do you not have an angle of Cody Ware hitting the wall? It's wild. Like, I guess I just for if they're official story and they're telling the truth, which I don't know that they are,
Yeah.
but if they are and they say, "Oh, we didn't see him hit the wall that hard. We just saw that he was under the tire barrier." If that's their official story, you got to do something different because you can't have guys hitting the wall that hard and then going, "La di da di." Oh, hey, look, there's a car under there. We should give him a chance to fire it back up. Well, the dude just hit the wall at 130 miles an hour. Like, you need to get the ASMR, the what is it? Whatever, the
Yeah,
safety crew,
I get it right. Some more.
the safety team out there to check on them. Uh, so yeah, I got a big issue with that. If they truly didn't see it, that's my issue. If they truly didn't see it, my issue is that they didn't see it. Um, if you can take that and set it aside, then I get it. Like, yeah, there would have been full blown reason to think that he might have an opportunity to back it back out of there, and continue on, and don't throw the caution if you can help it. Like I'm all on board with that, but you have to see the impact. You have to see it, and it's disappointing that they didn't, and that they don't have more capabilities than that. I get that we're not at a regular racetrack, and that probably does hinder them some, but
Yeah, I don't know. Someone took like a screenshot at one point in that video. It looked like there was an official right on the radio, right there, like right after it happened. So I gotta believe it was like, all right, just get these guys across the line and then throw it out. So,
yeah,
that's pretty unacceptable.
yeah,
Um, like when I first saw him, in my head, I'm like, don't don't bring out the caution. I was hoping they got across the line. Of course, I picked SVG to
right,
win, but otherwise, it's like I don't want to see a wreck fest in turn one.
right.
And but of course, I obviously did not see the impact. I thought, all right, Cody, where he just drove in there
Yeah, it's
too
just
hard,
Cody Ware
whatever
doing Cody Ware things.
things. Yeah, but NASCAR should have been able to see live
Yeah,
what happened. If they didn't really see live, then they got to fix some things.
yeah, I agree. Speaking of issues, being able to see things, I thought they started okay, but I'm kind of back down on TNT's broadcast lately. And it's a network thing. I get it. It's not going to be the same as streaming. Prime is like the holy grail of broadcasting. I wish that we could have watched a race like that every week. Again, you and I talked about it. We'd pay a subscription to watch NASCAR on Prime every week. Um, but yeah, they didn't do a great job with a lot of stuff. Not the crew itself, just the actual broadcasting. Like camera angles were late, and even when they were calling Bubba Wallace getting spun around off Bowman, it was like I can tell that Bubba's going around, and they had to wait till they cut to a different camera shot where you saw him around backwards, and you hear Dale go, "Oh, he's around," and it's like, how did you not know that that was happening?
Yeah,
So that kind of frustrates me a little bit that's a struggle. And I think it's all on the camera work end of it,
yeah,
and maybe not even the camera work, but how they're going to different cameras. And I get, again, it's Chicago. It's not like you're looking out the window of the booth and seeing the racetrack, so that might make a difference. We'll give them the opportunity to. Well, you really can't even do it at Sonoma. You're gonna have to wait to get to Dover to find out if they actually can get it cleaned up a little bit. Um, any negative comments you wanted to make about
I pretty much just ingredients.
them? Okay.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a yes man as your co-host. Uh, I listen to the Teardown every week. It's one of my favorite podcasts to get on immediately after the race because they follow the storyline so well. Um, they talk. They always give their voting in the in the poll who they think is going to be where. And that reminds me that we skipped that when we started the show here, our rating of the race. So before I talk about what they talked about in the teardown, what is your rating of the race at Chicago?
Um, I think it's one of the better road courses that we actually go to. I mean, being a street course, but um, I still just I'll give it a solid 7. Um, I think the strategy and how everything played out made it more interesting than maybe it really was. And watching Reddick with the new tires making passes and coming trying to run down SVG was interesting at the end too.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily disagree. Um,
I also have a little more affinity for road courses than you do too. So
that's true.
yeah,
You're right. But that's the thing. Like, I don't mind Watkins Glen and Sonoma. I like Watkins Glen. I would even say that I like Watkins Glen. I don't like Sonoma. It's just one of those like to me, it's not as bad as Pocono to where it's like let's just get on the other side of this race. But I think that's kind of been my struggle is that we had the Pocono and we had the Mexico City and we had the Chicago street race. Now we're going to Sonoma. Like, give me a real racetrack.
yeah.
That's I'm hungry for that right now, and I think that's probably on my nerves a little bit uh, in this part of the schedule. I, I get what NASCAR is trying to do with the street race, and I'm not even going to be critical of that. Like, that should have no impact on whether or not you thought it was a good race. Um, who won the race shouldn't have an impact on whether or not you thought it was a good race. Like, you're judging racing. It was okay. Um, the 75 laps, I didn't feel like I needed any more. It felt like it was SVG's race to lose from the drop. Really, I mean, it was even when I think it was Reddick that got by him in the first turn.
McDowell maybe. You're talking about the first start of the race.
Yeah,
That
was
was
it McDowell?
McDowell. Yeah,
Uh,
he led from that point to the end of the
okay.
stage. Yeah,
So McDowell gets through there in the first turn and ends up leading the race, and it was just like, you know, so what? Like Shane's gonna win this thing,
I mean, Shane just was like it felt like he was just letting him lead because
Yeah,
he stayed right there the whole time. It wasn't like McDowell drove away or nothing. And Shane pitted at the stage break and McDowell didn't.
yeah,
That was pretty much just a strategy move.
yeah. So again, we need to stop with the SVG stuff. He's so good. Uh, but I guess I would have to say 6 is my rating.
Yeah,
Uh, I didn't hate it. I just don't love the Chicago street course. I'd rather be at Chicagoland, and I get why you have to be where you're at and all that, but this kind of leads me into the conversation about what they did talk about on the teardown, and that was the that we're all whiny NASCAR fans, which is true. I'm definitely in that category of people that want the old days back, and they're saying that well, you have to go to these markets like Mexico City and Chicago and San Diego because that's how you grow your sport, and that's where people are. The average age of the NASCAR fan just it's so old. It's like, yeah, because these guys are still hanging on from when we were kids and watched good racing. And the reason that you're not seeing new people interested because the product isn't good. That's the problem. It's not that we're not in Chicago. It's not that we're not in Mexico City. It's not that we're not on the streets of San Diego. It's the racing product isn't good. That's the problem. And I don't understand why we can't fix the racing product. Oh, what do you want us to go back to Rockingham and race at places like that? Yes, yes, I do. Give me a good race at Rockingham. That's what I want to see. I don't care if you're on the streets of Chicago. I don't care if you build Rockingham in the middle of Chicago. Just give me good racing. I don't care where it's at. Just put a good product on the racetrack. That's what you're missing. That's why your fans are getting older, is because you used to have it and you went away from it. And that's the whole problem here. It has nothing to do with the location and oh, you're targeting the wrong demographics. We need to have concerts at these races. Just put good racing out there. That's the answer. That's it. You got anything to add to that?
no,
Again, it's nice to have a yes man
I
as
was
a
just
coach.
about to say yes, sir.
Uh, uh, all right. Phew. Uh, speaking of people that are upset, along with me, Daniel Suarez, he's out at Trackhouse. Were you surprised by this?
No.
Okay. Do you got any more to add than that?
Not really. I guess I think we talked about it before. If anybody was out there, it was him.
Are you surprised that the move came now?
Um,
I mean, he's not out now, but they've
yeah.
announced it now.
Um, this is just one of those things you got to get contract talks done early before the end of the seasons and things like that. And imagine they're working on their next guy already. I mean, so
It's Connor Zilic.
well, yeah. But
Connor Zilic in the 99.
yeah, or whatever number they decide to put out there.
Whatever.
Yeah,
In that car.
yeah, and yeah, that doesn't really surprise me that much. It
Do you,
also gives Suarez a chance to look for his next opportunity.
what do you think he's going to get for an opportunity?
There's rumors that something maybe at Colleague or something would probably be about his best bet. But maybe they can put him in instead of Ty Dillon or something like that. Or
Ty
um,
Dillon's leading the bracket challenge right now.
yeah, that's. But other than that, he's probably going to be relegated to a Rick Ware car since they got sold out or something, bought out, and they want to add cars or an Xfinity ride. That's probably his three best options.
Okay, I got two things on the. Well, I got a bunch of questions to ask you here. Um, do you think that Suarez is upset that he's out of Trackhouse?
I think he's probably up. I don't know. He, I think he'd rather stay. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying. Um, I know they said they mutually agreed to part, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Suarez is. I would say he's upset.
Okay. Um, we didn't even mention Suarez on our honorable mentions of road course racers. Do you think he's in that list? He's won a
He'd be
Sonoma.
he'd be at the bottom of it.
Really?
I just you expect him. I don't know. It just I feel like he gets top 10 and stuff, but he just doesn't. It's hit and miss for him there. You expect him to be good at the road courses. Of course, he won at Mexico and Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
Maybe he just does this car doesn't suit him. I don't know.
So Denny Hamlin, I think, is who said this. It's something that I hadn't put into this perspective before, but I think that he's 100% right. Is the jump from Xfinity to Cup is not the same as AAA to Major League Baseball. Like that's how we think of it is double A, triple A, major leagues, but it's not the same thing. Like it's such a bigger gap to go from the Xfinity series to the Cup series and be successful. Um, I don't know if you remember it or not, but like there was Joey Logano was getting fired from his ride at Joe Gibbs,
Yeah,
but he was running Xfinity series races and he was winning every one that he got in. So it's like, well, maybe he's not a bad driver, but he can't win in the Cup series. And then he goes to Penske and that changes everything. But uh do you like if he put Suarez in a JRM car, do you think he competes for the championship next year?
I think so. Yeah,
So I guess that's my point is, yeah, you can look at Daniel Suarez and be like, oh, he's not that great a race car driver, though. I don't know that he's not that great a race car driver. He just, I think that if you put him in a top Xfinity ride, he's really fast. I mean, he has an Xfinity Series championship. And I don't know. It's a little bit sad because I feel like he's getting kicked out of his ride. But at the same point, like if it's a performance based business, which we know that it is, the 99 car is the one the furthest behind at that place. I feel like SVG's got an excuse. You know, he's new to the oval stuff. They don't have any practice. It's going to be hard for him to catch up on the ovals, and just busted off two road course wins. So yeah, I feel bad for Suarez, but I kind of get it. Um, the other thing is I can't even remember who brought it up this past week, but I heard about this. The way that they score cars after the crashes was after the big crash in Atlanta, and Denny Hamlin I think was complaining about the fact that he's probably the one that brought this up that he scored behind guys that he was running ahead of.
yeah,
Tell me why this wouldn't work. That just like they do for to reset the restart, when the caution comes out, you go to the last timing line to see who is running where. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So to determine who is running in what position and how they're going to line up coming down pit road or for the restart or whatever, you go back to the last scoring loop, and that's how they determine the lineup. So even if, you know, two cars are side by side and the one on the inside's passing the other one, when the caution comes out, you go back to the last loop to where he might not have been ahead.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
As like the final scoring position of the race.
No,
Like
no,
if
not
they're
not at the last. This is just in throughout the race. If
yeah.
a caution comes out, that's how they're scored.
I mean, yeah, the score of the wreck drivers. You're saying that way.
Look, but I'm just saying in general. Like,
Yeah, I know how that works. Yeah.
okay, that's
Yeah.
my point. Like that's
Okay.
what's established. But I'm saying that like that's how it works generally. If you're racing and a caution comes out, that's how you're scored. So I don't understand why it wouldn't work if when the caution comes out, if and you're in the wreck, you take the pool of wrecked cars and you just look at where they were running prior to the wreck, and that's the order that you score them in. So if they're wrecked and they're out of the race, and this guy was running sixth and this guy in 18th also crashed, the guy in sixth is going to be scored ahead of them,
Yeah,
no matter what order they got towed away in.
I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that just seems like that makes the most sense. Like, why wouldn't you just do that?
Yeah.
Is you already have that technology in place. That's how you officiate every other caution. Why couldn't you just do that for wrecked cars as well?
Yeah. I know wreck cars after the wreck, they would even if they knew they couldn't fix their cars, they would just drive around the track wreck just to score a couple of laps, and
Yeah,
then. But I don't know. It'd be something that needs to be looked into, anyways.
yeah,
I know what the happened with they said what happened with Denny is he went to the garage before the start finish line, where others made sure they got past the start finish line before they went to the garage and completed that lap. That was how Denny got scored behind them guys.
I get it, but I
But
don't think
yeah,
it should matter.
yeah, it should, you're in that spot until you either get your car fixed or you don't
Yeah.
come back out or not.
Um, Other guys that scored points this race: Michael McDowell won the first stage, Ryan Blaney won the second stage, and Tyler Reddick had the Xfinity fastest lap. The Xfinity Series, Shane ended up again winning that race. There was no truck this week, and next week, both the Cup and Xfinity Series are going to end up going to Sonoma, and I'm sure in the Xfinity Series they're going to be faster than the Xfinity Internet, and I hope somebody pays me for that. Uh, Anything in particular that you're looking forward to or looking to next week? Where did our points shake out after this? I mean, you won the race. Did you take the lead again?
You're still 9 points.
This is when I don't want to be leading.
uh, yeah,
Okay, so I'm not gonna hold you to it, but who's your pick immediately going to Sonoma? Oh,
SVG.
it's the SVG. Okay, I'm taking Ty Gibbs, and it's unofficial, but that's I didn't want to root for Ty Gibbs this week. He ended up finishing second. That's why I took Busher, and they said that Busher was going to be fast. He ended up having motor issues. I'm gonna have to take Ty Gibbs. I don't want to root for him. I don't want the guy to win. I don't want him to. I hope he finishes second right behind Joey Logano at Sonoma. Uh, I don't even want the points for the win if I pick Ty Gibbs, but I think he's gonna be fast, and I think that he'll end up probably finishing second behind SVG. If
Yeah,
I had to guess, so
SVG already has a win there in Xfinity Series, so
yeah, he does. Uh, why didn't he win the Cup race last year? Was he in it?
he wasn't in it.
Okay, that's why he didn't win
Mm.
it.
He was actually like a spotter for that another supercar driver that came and ran a car.
Okay.
I don't remember his name. What was that? I'm not even gonna try and say a name because I don't know. But yeah,
All right. Well, anything else that you wanted to touch on from this week?
that's all I got.
That's all I got. Let's shut her down here in the garage area. And I got to get my blood pressure under control after talking about the racing product on the racetrack. Uh, but I'm looking forward to being out of this slump of oddball racetracks: Mexico City, Pocono, Chicago, and now Sonoma. Not that they're oddballs necessarily, but just take me back to an oval. And I'm looking forward to Dover. Not looking past Sonoma though. So we'll see who ends up being fast. I assume we'll be right back here next week talking about an SVG win again and getting his third one of the year. And I guess we'll see what happens.